Hi people. Every day I am recording videos to improve my English fluency and to communicate clear, to complete sentences in a flow and explain a topic in a clear way. I am being consistent from the past so many days. I am being consistent from the past 2 months. But nowadays I am changing a little bit by expressing the ideas that I am enhancing myself, that are enhancing my skills. I am explaining those topics to going deep into those topics, and I am explaining and communicating what I had learned and what I understood. It helps me a lot to improve my communication and to ace the interviews. So in this journey I learned so many things and I understood about myself, to express the ideas and to how to convey the information and what the brain needed to process the information. How could I express sentences clearly? And from the past 3 days I am expressing the ideas, but I am not completing the ideas clearly. I mean, I am not delivering the sentences, I am not giving an end to the sentence. Now also I shifted from a thought to another thought. It means I didn't complete the sentence, I jumped to the another sentence. I am not completing the sentence, I am starting the another sentence in between. So that's I am going to clear from today onwards. So to clear that, I need to follow a technique called pause. After completion of a thought, after completion of a sentence, after completion of an idea, I take a pause like this. A pause helps to process the information for the mind. Our mind processes the information if we take a pause. I know it very well, but I didn't use it in my communication because it needs a practice to do it. So today I am going to explain about AWS IAM role, why it is used and when it is used. And I am going to explain about some DevOps troubleshooting commands which are used in day-to-day life in DevOps scenarios. As now also I fumbled, but it's okay. To sound good and to sound perfect, it takes over time. I am focusing on present, I am focusing on what I am explaining. As of that, so let us start about AWS IAM role. Why do we use AWS IAM role? When do we use AWS IAM role? An AWS IAM role is particularly preferred for temporary permissions. For example, an EC2 wants to access the S3 bucket, or a user or the developer want to access the S3 bucket files or the logs from the EC2 instance. So for this there is no need of giving the long-term permissions, and AWS IAM user doesn't support at all because it is for long-term permissions and we couldn't manually interfere to delete it or to revoke the permissions or to terminate the permissions, but it is possible with AWS IAM role. So an AWS IAM role is a temporary permissions which come up with multiple features for the developers to assume role, to assume identity, to go up with some other things. So combining AWS IAM role with the secure token service is going to create a temporary permission. Okay, first step, I create an AWS IAM role in the console with the proper permissions to the user, and the user access these permissions by assuming the permissions are given to that resource to resource through the command line interface from the instance. As he going up with Security token service. A token service has three components. It generates access key ID, secret access key, and session key. A session key responds to how much time, and it creates a session to the user to perform the actions for a certain period of time. A developer or the user need to give permissions or to give a developer or the user should define how much time the user using the permissions. So the core component of AWS IAM role plus security token service is there is no need of manual intervention as the action starts or as the user start the service or use the credentials. After a short period of time, AWS automatically terminates the permissions. The user couldn't access the S3 files or he couldn't run any command according to the S3 bucket. That's the capability of AWS IAM role plus security token service. AWS IAM role. Okay, let us discuss about DevOps troubleshooting commands day-to-day life. DevOps come up with and face multiple troubleshooting errors in day-to-day life. So to resolve that, I have an idea and I have some prior commands for this service or for this troubleshooting error. We need to use these precautions. We need to be aware of the troubleshooting error like port blocked, DNS failures, security firewall errors, or latency issues. These will cause the major network issues for DevOps day-to-day life. So, for example, DNS resolution. It may be due to the cause of DNS system or the server doesn't working or the domain name didn't configured clearly. So, as DNS is a internet's phone book, if it couldn't resolve the domain name into IP address, there will be definitely an error. So, by using NSLOOKUP command, a DevOps engineer should easily can resolve the issue. NSLOOKUP command is easily resolve the IP address. If not, we need to check up the domain name servers and we need to go with how the cache is there and whether the domain names are updated or up to mark or not. So these are the precautions we should take. So for DNS failures, we should use NSLOOKUP tool, which resolves the IP address into domain name. Second thing, port blocked. On a server or a virtual machine or whether it will be instance, anything, if a service in a server couldn't access the internet, couldn't reach the internet, there will be a problem with port blocking. If a specific port couldn't reachable to the internet, then there will be a cause of port blocking. So we check this by using telnet tool. A telnet tool check whether the specific port is open for or to reach the internet. Latency issues. A latency in the world of DevOps, latency is called distance between server to the client. If there is a high latency, then there will be a delay of packets. There will be chance for losing packets in between transferring packets from device to device. There will be a chance of losing data packets. So it causes errors. If we do not take any precautions, there will be loss in business. Finally, firewall rules. We need to correct the firewall rules, we have to check every time.